As a new year begins, some of you guys might be thinking about jumping into barbecue, or some of you guys might be looking to upgrade whatever you're cooking on now. And if you're in that situation, it can be a little bit difficult to figure out what kind of cooker you should buy. The biggest, most expensive cooker is not necessarily the best thing for you. Depending on where you live, or how much space that you have, or how much you plan to cook, or what you plan on cooking drastically changes what type of cooker you should have. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys 4 different types of cookers that I actually have in my backyard right now, at 4 different price points for you guys to figure out what you might want to start off with in this upcoming year. And this video is kind of like a part 2 to the video I did last week about like equipment that you might need in the kitchen. So if you guys haven't watched that one, definitely check that one out. The purpose of doing that is so in the future, as I make more cooking videos and you guys plan on creating at home, you guys have similar types of, you know, knives and cutting boards and things like that, as well as smokers and grills, which I think is also really important. And just to clarify, all the cookers I'm showing you guys today is not to show you guys specific ones to buy. It's more so styles of cookers that will fit kind of your budget and your cooking style. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, so this is our first grill. This is called the River Grill. I don't even know when we got this thing. It's just a grill that we have when we have, you know, family over cooking a lot of food and we just need something really hot and fast. It gives you a lot of space. And it kind of has that weird system where it hooks the grill grate underneath on these little latches so you can raise and lower it. It has a cooling rack on top. Like, it's just purely just for grilling. If that's something that you're into and you're really not that concerned about getting into the low and slow cooking and you don't want to do like brisket and ribs and stuff like that, this is perfect. Can you barbecue on this thing? Technically, yeah, you could, just because you got the smokestack there. I've done it before where I just have a small pile of wood on this side or charcoal on this side. I wouldn't consider this an offset. And this is getting to my next point as well. Like, this grill is, you're getting this from like a Lowe's or a Home Depot or Ace Hardware. You might see something that's similar to this, and then there'll be like a fire box attached to the side. That's initially what I started with back in the day. It was a Brinkman. I think I bought it for like 200 bucks, and I thought like, ooh, I got a real smoker now that I see people in Texas using. You know, I didn't know any better. The firebox like fell off pretty often. It rusted really quickly. It didn't hold temps. I learned a lot cooking on that offset, but I do not recommend you guys buying an offset that you can get from like Home Depot or Lowe's and stuff like that and learning that way. The learning curve is it's too big, and there's so many great stuff out there now that don't recommend it. Like I said, if your cooking style is more just hot and fast, it works and it's perfect, and it doesn't really take up that much space for how much cooking space that you get. All right, next, let's go on to the next price point. All right, the next bump up in price range are kettle grills. You can definitely find kettle grills that are way cheaper, but I do feel like those kettle grills, you get what you're paying for. They're just never that stable. Sometimes like the lids don't fit properly. The quality of the materials is not great. Spending a little bit of money on something that's a little more versatile, I think is worth it. These two are obviously from S&S, and I'm an affiliate with them. If you guys want to see a more thorough video, I've done a video both on the small travel and the 22-inch. They clearly look like Weber grills, and one person was saying how I was not being honest, that I was selling a product that wasn't good. I don't have a Weber grill, so I can't compare it, but you know, I also think that more than the equipment, more importantly is the cook. So if you're telling me that you can't cook good food on a S&S but you can on a Weber, I think that has more to do with the person that's cooking rather than the equipment, but that's just my opinion. The thing that I love about these kettle grills is the fact that you can both grill hot and fast and still smoke food on both of these. And because grills of this style come with a lot of different functions, like baskets for the coals, you can get attachment for rotisserie that you guys see me use a couple times, and it's just fun to use. It doesn't take up that much fuel or charcoal. It's really efficient. It cooks really well, and I think another big important thing is the fact that the footprint of this style of kettle grill doesn't take up that much space, and it's easy to move, which is a huge plus. Before I move from this price range, the other thing that I have tucked in the back right here is my friend's Weber Smoky Mountain that I took from him maybe like a year and a half ago. And I really thought I was gonna end up using this because I had these two. I never really use this at all. But I'll say with the Weber Smoky Mountain, if you're only focusing on doing barbecue, this might be the way to go because the heat is at the bottom and you can use entire grate for bigger pieces of meat, while the kettles, you kind of have to offset a little bit so you lose a little bit of cooking space. These are all in the same price range. I just like the Kettle Grills a little bit better because they're a little bit more versatile in their function, while this one is kind of like, you know, if you're just doing barbecue and let's say you already have a grill to use for hot and fast stuff, maybe consider that. But if you don't have one, these are the way to go. All right, now we're making a huge jump in terms of price point. This is a Yoder Kingman. This is kind of like the largest backyard style smoker that they sell, or they did at the time when I bought this back in 2015. This is the smoker that I bought opening up Knox at Barbecue in the backyard that we are currently standing in right now. And at the time when I bought this, there were kind of only 3 big name sort of like backyard smoker companies. This one being Yoder, Lang, which is a reverse flow, and I think the other one is called Horizon, which is very, very similar to this one. There are a couple things that I absolutely love about this thing. The one came with a top rack, which helped me put out a lot more food, especially since people wanted a lot of ribs. I finally had a smoker with a real firebox that was actually welded to the cooking chamber, which was huge. I don't remember what the thickness is, but it was really nice. Even when it's cold outside, it still held temp really well. I didn't really have any big issues with it. I would say the only thing that I didn't love, but I didn't really know because I was still fairly new to barbecue. If you look at the smokestack on the other side, the stack connects at the top of the cooking chamber, not in the center. Did it really significantly change the way that I cook? Not really, but it was only one detail that I just kind of noticed and I wish was different like after the fact. I don't really use it that much now, but if I have to cook a lot of food and I need additional space, this thing cooks really, really well. I'll say it is very, very heavy and very difficult to move. I remember emailing back and forth when I was buying this thing and I asked the person like, hey, do I need to upgrade the tires so I can move it around some more? Because I told him I might have to move it around my backyard. He's like, nah, it should be fine. It moves really well. These wheels are terrible. This thing is so hard to move. My dad actually created something where we use like a kind of like a mini car jack to lift this thing up, pull it with another thing because this thing just won't move. So if this is something that you might be looking for and you plan on moving it even within your backyard, do yourself a favor, upgrade those tires. It's just such a hassle to move such a large smoker just a couple of feet. But with that being said, I have a lot of memories with this smoker. I've done so many pop-ups with this thing. This was the thing that really got me loving barbecue and learning how to cook on an offset. By the time I got to Texas, did I feel like I knew what I was doing? Absolutely not, but at least I had a better idea of what I was doing, even though I could barely build a fire during my first couple weeks working at Terry Black's. All right, now let's move on to our very last smoker for today. All right, guys. I don't think it's a surprise that the very last smoker that I'm talking about is my 250-gallon primitive pit. And as you can tell, I've definitely learned my lesson and got this on tires. I had to bring this from the front and had to bring it over grass, and it was so easy. If you guys plan on moving this around or you're on different terrains in your backyard or wherever you're cooking, the tires are essential. I don't need to move this thing much anymore, and I'm so happy that it fits perfectly within my backyard. But if I had to move it, I'm not worried about it. This smoker is very simple. Didn't want counterweights on this thing. I just love the look of it. Obviously the tires are a huge addition. I got top racks in it. The stack is way bigger than anything that you're gonna get on any just normal backyard smoker as well. And probably the question that I get the most about people who are interested in buying offset smokers are whether or not they should get a firebox that's insulated or non-insulated or semi-insulated and stuff like that. My particular firebox is a semi-insulated firebox with a 2-inch air gap, and it's perfect. And that's coming from someone who is often cooking in colder weathers in Chicago. Personally, I feel like I can cook better even in the wintertime on a semi-insulated firebox than a fully insulated one. And there are two kind of nerdier barbecue videos that I kind of want to talk about. One is talking about the stack, because a lot of people seem to have a question about that. There's really not that much to it, but I'm pretty sure I can nerd out a little bit and talk about that, but I can also talk about the firebox and different styles as well. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see those 2 videos. I think it's really important to think about that kind of stuff, especially as you plan on purchasing smokers, and or just like a restaurant, or you're starting pop-ups, you know, you want to get the right smoker for, you know, whatever condition you're in and the style of cooking that you want to do. So as much as I praise the last smoker, obviously this one is better, but just because it's bigger and it costs more money doesn't make this thing better for you. I have something like this because sometimes I do really big cooks and I know how to utilize the space, and I have the space for it. If you don't have that kind of space in your backyard or wherever you're cooking, like, you just logistically can't use it. All right, guys, so I hope that helped you kind of break down maybe what you're looking for and what your necessities are. And I don't want anyone to think that they have to buy a certain type of smoker in order to create good barbecue just because they think that that is a thing that's going to bring their food to the next level. It'll make it easier, but if you don't know how to use in the first place, it really doesn't matter. So even though I kind of broke down how I use all these smokers, you kind of have to do your own research. It's kind of like buying a car, buying some nice knives, buying a new laptop. For those people who make YouTube videos, it's a lot of research trying to figure out what type of camera that you need. But I would just say go with something that's gonna get you cooking more frequently. The kettle grills are really easy to start up and start cooking right away, which is why I often use them. One of the things that kind of keeps me away from using the offset very often is the fact that, like, it's gonna take longer to fire up, and it's gonna take more wood, it's gonna take more attention and more time. But that's also the fun of barbecue, is because it is a little more labor intensive, and I think the food does come out to be way better if you know how to use it. So if you guys are really trying to get into like Texas style barbecue, you know, investing in an offset within your price range I think is really important, but don't be cheap and get like the cheapest one possible. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments down below. And again, if you guys want me to make videos about the smokestack or the firebox, let me know in the comments as well. If you guys like this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends who are trying to get into barbecue, and I'll see you guys in the next video.